What's up, guys? You know, it's getting to be that time of year where it's cold outside. It's a time for staying in and drinking hot coffee or tea and doing some reading while outside it snows and rains and freezes. Recently, I was thinking about the books that I'm most looking forward to reading, and I compiled a list of the novels that I'm most excited for. These are my top 10 books that I'll be reading this winter. Number 1, Billy Summers by Stephen King. Now, I don't know much about this one because I've been avoiding spoilers. However, I do know that it's about an American war veteran who's working as an assassin, but like the serial killer Dexter from the novel Darkly Dreaming Dexter, he only goes after the bad guys. Now, many of you know that I'm on a quest to read every Stephen King book. I've completed 53 Stephen Kingers so far, and something that I like about this is it's a decently sized novel. This gives me confidence that Stephen King will be around writing lengthy novels for many years to come, and this gets good ratings on Goodreads. Many people seem to like this one, and I'm totally psyched for it. Number 2, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Earlier this year, I read The Lord of the Rings for the first time, and I absolutely loved that book. While I was reading the last part of that novel, The Return of the King, I was looking something up online about Gandalf, about his history, and to my surprise, I found out that Tolkien authored a whole canon of books chronicling the Middle-earth saga that I'm going to read. It's called the Silmarillion, and of course we have The Hobbit as well. Although I've read The Lord of the Rings, I'm kind of new to this whole Middle-earth saga thing, and I believe that The Hobbit is Bilbo's story, the story about how he found the ring. And this looks like a relatively quick read, especially in comparison to The Lord of the Rings, and I cannot wait to read this one and review it here for you guys. Number 3, Blood Rites by Jim Butcher. This is the 6th installment in the Dresden Files series, and I don't know much about it, but based on the title of the novel, Blood Rites, I assume it involves the vampire clan. I honestly don't even care what these novels are about at this point. I love them so much that I just want to know what happens next with Harry Dresden and what happens next in the plot that's evolving in this series. I cannot wait to get a few more books into this series so that I can do an in-depth video here on the channel about how much I love these books. This one is about a wizard named Harry Dresden, Chicago's only professional wizard, and Harry helps the Chicago Police Department when there are criminal cases that happen in the city where magic is involved. Plus, he has a bunch of personal problems that he's dealing with. I'm as invested in this series as any other that I'm reading right now, and I'm thankful that I have many more installments to go in this one. Number 4 on my list is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I was watching an interview recently with Stephen King, a newer interview that he did, where he says that Lonesome Dove is his favorite novel that he's ever read. Now, it's been many years since I read a Western. The last one I read was probably 10 years ago. I think it was Where the Long Grass Blows by Louis L'Amour. This is described as an adventure, a love story, and an epic of the Wild West frontier, and it's also a Pulitzer Prize winning piece. It's been several months since I read a 1,000+ page novel. The Stand by Stephen King was the last one that I completed, but I feel like I'm going to fall into this one and just love the storyline and the atmosphere. Now, this is the 3rd book in a series, and if I love it as much as everyone else who reads it seems to, I might read all of the other books involved. Number 5, The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. The Da Vinci Code was probably the most suspenseful novel I've ever read in my life. I loved the treasure hunt, conspiracy theory, fast-paced, short chapter setup in that one. It made for a hell of an adventure. And I've also read 2 other books in the Robert Langdon series, Inferno and Origin. This is actually the 3rd book in the Robert Langdon series, after Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci Code, and it's filled with codes, secrets, and unseen truths. This one takes place in hidden tunnels and secret chambers under the streets of Washington, D.C. I really like how Dan Brown brings artwork into his books. I really appreciate that. And I love his take on modern science and philosophy. Dan Brown is a really smart guy, and Robert Langdon ain't so bad either. Number 6, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I've never read a Paulo Coelho before, and I'm always in the business of reading new authors, especially authors of classic novels. This is about a young boy named Santiago who travels from his homeland of Spain to the Egyptian desert in search of a buried treasure near the Egyptian pyramids. Many people have said this is filled with soul-stirring wisdom. This is about Santiago and his journey and the people that he meets along the way and the conversations he has with them, and it's a coming-of-age type story. Recently I was looking for books that have inspired people, and this one kept popping up. People seem to really have been affected by this one. And it actually has a cult-like following. It's one of the best-selling books of all time, and it's not very lengthy, so I think it's going to be a fun and inspirational read. 7. Innocence by Dean Koontz. I'm currently reading a damned good book. It's called From the Corner of His Eye by Dean Koontz. Although I have a love-hate relationship with this author, I love the wisdom found on the pages of his novels. He's an extraordinarily wise person, and for me, his novels are poetic. This one is about a man who lives in solitude. He lives in the shadows of the community that he's a part of. He's actually in exile from his community, and I assume that something supernatural is going to happen in this one. I believe that it's a post-apocalyptic end-of-the-world type book. I've wanted to read this one for a couple of years now, and if I enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying From the Corner of His Eye, I might go on a Dean Koontz tear and read a bunch of his books. 8. The Tale of the Body Thief by Anne Rice. The unholy grail of vampire fiction, The Vampire Chronicles, is one of my favorite series. I've completed 3 books in the Chronicles now, the last one being The Queen of the Damned, which I finished about a year ago. And we're back with the vampire Lestat again in this piece, and I guess he's trading bodies with people in this one. Anne Rice, like Dean Koontz, is a deeply philosophical writer. She's put a lot of thought into life, and religion, and politics, and I love her books. I'm going to read all of the Vampire Chronicles, and all of The Lives of the Mayfair Witches. She has 2 epic-style horror series that actually merge at some point, the Chronicles and the Witches books, and I can't wait to see how that merging comes together. I don't even care what this book is about. I just want more about these vampires and their lives. I already purchased the audiobook on Audible. I have the paperback copy right here, and I feel that I'm going to be darkly enchanted by this one. 9. Inhibitor Phase by Alastair Reynolds. There are 4 literary series that own a piece of my heart. They are the Dark Tower series, the Stormlight Archive, the Vampire Chronicles, and the Revelation Space series. This is the brand new installment in Revelation Space, and I cannot possibly express to you how amazing this series of books is. I'm not being biased when I say there isn't any other science fiction series out there that is like this one. This is deep space, hard sci-fi, and this series answers the question, why does it look like the universe is dead? Why, when we look out into outer space with our telescopes, does it seem like there aren't any spacefaring civilizations out there? Why does it seem like we are alone in the universe? The author, Reynolds, is an astrophysicist and a former astronomer, and there are complex ideas in here about consciousness and life and engineering and the universe at large, and Reynolds is a very intelligent person and a great writer. I was totally psyched when I found out that the core of the Revelation Space story is no longer a trilogy. This is now the 4th installment in that chronological tale, and just like with the Dresden Files, when I get this novel finished up, I'm going to do an in-depth video here on the channel about how much I love this story and how great it really is. And finally, guys, number 10, The Valley of Horses by J.R.R. A couple of years ago, I was blown away by the prehistoric novel The Clan of the Cave Bear by J.R.R. It's about a little Cro-Magnon girl who is separated from her Cro-Magnon family, and she's rescued by and goes to live with a group of Neanderthal people at their cave, and they are known as the Clan of the Cave Bear. I was so emotionally invested in that story, and the author did a great job investigating prehistory and trying to write about what it might have been like to live 30 or 40,000 years ago. The storyline and the characters were such a quality experience for me as the reader that I must go on and find out what happens with Ayla and her family and what happens next in her life with this story. And I can't wait for a deeply cold, freezing, snowy winter day so that I can crack this book and go back into prehistory. Those are 10 books that I'm most looking forward to reading this winter, and some of these, like Lonesome Dove and The Tale of the Body Thief, I've been looking forward to for quite a long time now. I will be reviewing all of these books this winter on the channel here, and with some of these, like The Hobbit and The Dresden Files and Revelation Space, I will be doing in-depth videos talking about these things, what I like about them, breaking the series down, so make sure you subscribe if you love to read, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I will see you next time.